She's real fine, my 409. She's real fine, my 409. Saved my pennies and I saved my dimes. Giddy up 409. Do any of you know or remember that tune? I pray so, but I think there might be very few people in my vintage group watching and enjoying these videos. But anyhow, once again, welcome to the Man Cave here at Wistful Vistas in beautiful suburban San Diego, California. A bit of a blustery day, doggone, all the way down into the low 60s Fahrenheit speaking. But however, we've got other things to do. We've got stuff to do. We've got stuff to do inside today. And the reason that 409 tune came to me is because it used to be very common for a couple of hep cats to get together. And one guy would say to the other, admiring his car, he'd say, "What's under the hood? What's she got under the hood?" And the other guy might say something like, 289, 289 horsepower, Chevy V8, dude. Ooh, wow. It's interesting to think that we have almost half that amount of horsepower in motorcycles nowadays. But a common question, what she got under the hood? And what we're gonna do in the garage today is check our good friend Larry Lightning, the 2021. You look to be on a bit of a tilt. Are you all right? Have you been, let's just say, are you imbibing in anything? So you do look to be a bit of a tilt here. But we're going to check the Tuono and see if we can, we're gonna pop open a couple of panels and see what we find inside there. There are some interesting little hints about what we might come up with. For one, where we once had to drill out and mill out the instrument fascia for a power takeoff that was provided, there is now a removable plug located in the same place. Want to remove that panel and look under there. For another, along with my motorcycle, I received a booklet on a lithium battery along with the ownership papers. Makes me wonder if there is indeed a lithium battery under that seat. And then the last thing I want to check on is under this side panel here, because the 2017s and above came with a plug-in ready for the Aprilia PMP. It was called the Piaggio Multimedia Platform, I think, the PMP. Piaggio is the parent company of Aprilia. And you could put that in and then have connectivity with your smartphone. And I think that's been enhanced. I found a section on it in the owner's manual. Remember that thing that's about 3 feet thick? Found a section mentioning, if equipped, about that PMP platform. So I want to look on the side and see if that plug-in module is still available. So in garage stuff, we're just going to pop off a couple panels and see what we find out. So bear with me on this. It should be a fun little venture here. And we'll see what's under the hood. Not a 409. Are you still in there? So the first thing we're going to do is remove the seat. And I hope this shows up a little bit. I'm going to move the camera in a little bit and take a look under there, see what we have in the way of the battery that I'm very interested in seeing. Battery is usually laid out under the seat in this chassis. So stand by, we're going to get to that. The first thing we do, let me move the camera just a bit closer. Yes, indeed. Okay. The first thing we do is we take the ignition key, so kindly provided. Don't forget my little stash box key that I have in the back that we used as a modification. And we look for the key slot under the seat here. Give it a twist and pop this out. This is a bit more complicated than I call it, 17. Whoa. Okay, it's not supposed to leap free like that. Sorry. no seats or seat cowlings were injured during the filming of that episode. You've got a little closing latch that closes over this groove here, and that's tight. Yeah, it's a little, gotta say, not too happy with, it should be a little smoother than that, ladies and gentlemen. What can I say? All right, now we're gonna remove the seat. There are two 4mm bolts holding the seat down. Pop those out. Now, the interesting things about these 4mm seat bolts, by the way, the seat's kind of a rubbery, sort of a covered affair. It's not, doesn't impress as being that high of quality materials, honestly. So we spin out these 4mm bolts holding it down, and just a note that they are perfectly placed to come out and then get lost in the depths of the seat mechanism. And once you do that, trust me, I have done that, you are doomed to a hunt to find this little guy falling down inside your inside your bike mechanism. So we're going to pull these things off here. We'll get it loose. I'm going to set that one there for a second. Come on, let go. Should be exciting here. I do want to see it. You got to get your finger underneath it and kind of trap it there so it doesn't, like I say, get into the land of the lost. I should make sure that these are magnetic, by the way, because even if lighter ones in an alloy were available, I think you'd want them magnetic so you could fish them out with your magnetic fishing tool. What else? There it is. I've got the two of them. Now that, guess what I just discovered? This is an interesting situation. This is from the factory, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe there are parts shortage issues at the factory. These just came off of the motorcycle holding the seat down. Both 4mm, no doubt about that, but both completely different screws. What does that mean? Not a clue, except that must have been Friday in the factory when they pieced this motorcycle together. Little bit strange there. Like I say, found that a bit weird. Okay, let's see if it works like the old one did. Yeah, it just lifts right up. Oh my, here we are looking under the... Just to note, this bike comes from the factory with a lithium battery installed. There's a little warning label here on the battery itself that talks about its temperature, best temperature use, and it says if you're outside those boundaries to consider the Yuasa lead acid battery, which was in fact the battery that was installed on my 2017 until I changed that to the lithium. I'm very happy to see this because I'm a fan, very much a fan of the lithium batteries. They're lighter and their life is much better, especially if you have a limited use vehicle like a motorcycle in your garage. So this is overall good news here. Search through the wires, just looking through the wires. There we go, got it. Aha! Here it is. We have a battery charging, let's call it a battery maintainer extension, which was also supplied on the 2017, by the way. And it does have a different configuration plug-in. So I was saying a mild criticism I had of the dealership and of Aprilia, and maybe Aprilia does put this in their advertising somewhere, But the mild criticism I had was they perhaps should have mentioned that there was a lithium battery in here, because it's not uncommon in the motorcycle fraternity to use a battery maintainer for lead acid batteries, because it's, you know, typically, particularly with Tuonos, they're lightly used, and you use them to keep that lead acid battery alive. And if you try to hook a lead acid battery to, a lithium battery to a lead acid charger, disastrous things, including some fires, can happen. So they have supplied a lithium battery, and they have supplied a power maintainer for the lithium battery. That is pretty cool. I don't know, I'm going to have to read up about this. It's an Optimate. So this is an Optimate battery. I'm going to have to read up and see how much they do recommend whether you should use a battery maintainer or not. My experience is that a battery maintainer is not necessarily, especially in mild climates, not necessarily required for a lead acid battery such as what you'd put into something like a Tuono Factory V4 or any Tuono. But happy news. Happy that there is a lead acid battery by Optimate that is installed. And the number here is BSL1, it looks like -04. Hello. So even though it looks like there are two panels here, they seem to be joined. There are 3 4mm screws holding this side panel on, 2 quite easy to get at, 1 sort of obscure and around the corner here. So I don't have a motorcycle lift. Poor pitiful me. Oh my goodness, feel my pain. Whoa, there it is. Okay, so that's that. Now, let me get, and here is number 3. At least these 3 are all the same. So they used one of the body panel screws as the second screw to hold the seat on. And it's that simple to take this little guy off. Okay, the panel came off. 3 screws, there's no tabs or anything. Sometimes you have to work under or around some tabs to get it to turn loose, but there's 3 screws. They're all the same size. Wait, tell me, are these screws or bolts? Let me know what you think. They're all the same size, all the same color. They're 4mm, and they appear to have had perhaps a mild thread locker put on them, but I can't tell that 100%. And it also appears to me that because I had those 2 different colored screws on the seat, one of the screws they used, it must have been, like I say, a Friday, was a regular, if these are regular body screws, I think perhaps one of those 2 was a regular body screw. Now, looking here, I do not see, no, I don't see anywhere. It was readily apparent on the old machine where that PMP connector was, and it just came right out. I'll post a connection to it on my vlog. This gray piece may or may not be it. Not entirely sure. Seems to be connected there. It seems to be a terminated connection too, which is kind of interesting. So it may be that is where that PMP connection goes. In fact, I'm gonna guess that this is exactly what it is. See if I can get the camera up there to show this. Recording light on. Don't go out on me again. This is the piece that I'm talking about right here. I think this may be the PMP, the Piaggio Multimedia Platform Connector, I think, perhaps. Or it just might be the diagnostic connection for the system as well. So not too sure about that, but there is a mysterious terminated connector there. There's no connection on the other side. It just hooks in there and it goes in with a standard little push pull pin out of there. So that may be indeed where that PMP platform goes. I'm going to have to look back at that old video that I did a while back myself and see if it looks visually like this, and that's exactly what this is. And that'll be cool news. And as I say, I'll post the connection to that up. So I'm putting the first chassis bolt or screw back in, and I just want to make the comment, and I'm using some blue thread locker on it. I just want to make the comment to do not over tighten, because for instance, in the case of this one, it's going into a boss on the chassis that's cast and threaded, and those are very easy to cross thread or to strip, and then you're on a painful odyssey, because you'll have to use some kind of an insert or something to save it. So we'll put this one in. I just put a little blue thread lock on it. Okay, the third part of our little foray into what she got under the hood is to look under this left fascia, which is where the power takeoff was on the earlier model Aprilias. In this case, instead of having to remove the panel or actually cutting it, we actually had to cut the old one. There is an access panel. I don't know that that's going to show up, but I can maybe I can grab this without putting my back to the camera. Yes, I can. And it comes right off. Let me bring that up into focus here. It comes right off, and that, per my memory, is just about the perfect size for that Aprilia power, or sorry, it was also a Piaggio part, the Piaggio power takeoff. Now I'm going to set that aside because, yes, indeed, I will lose it. And as I look down inside here, all that's immediately visible to me is the wires going out to the turn signal. So to get a real view of it, and as I fish around in there, I'm glad they didn't put any mouse traps in here. As I fish around in there, I don't see anything else. So I'm not 100% certain that we're going to find it as conveniently pre-wired as we did in the past. But I'm going to go ahead and remove this. I count 1, 2, and that one is going to be a little bit of a bear. 3, 4 screws, bolts, call them what you may. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see if that's one there. No, it isn't. And these look to be our old friends, Dr. Phillips. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to have to try and get those off and see how this panel comes off, and we'll take a look underneath there and see what we see. So bear with me for a minute. I've got the first of those fascia screws out, and I'm unhappy to report, I don't recall what they were on the 2017, but I'm unhappy to report that these are self-tapping plastic screws. I say I'm unhappy to report because they're not so happy going in and out multiple times, so you don't want to mess with these. And certainly my comments regarding be careful of over tightening apply very much so here. So these are some kind of self-tapping, and they are a Phillips head about a standard, I'm not sure of metric sizing on Phillips head, but sort of a standard sizing there. So I'm still working my way through of finding them and taking them out. Be back to you soon. Okay, so to add to the fun, not only are these self-tapping, but there are evidently going to be multiple sizes. The first one I took out, and I'm going to have to remember where that came from. The first one I took out was this one here. See if I can separate it. Second one is this one here, and you can see indeed they are different sizes. So that is just going to make a little bit more of a challenge, remembering that there are different sizes involved. So the left side fascia comes off very easily. There's only 3 screws holding it in place. 2 are small and 1 is big. I can't say much about that, but this shows you the cutout that was molded in, and Aprilia now provides cutout. It says Aprilia made in Italy, and it gives a mold date for this, but it comes off easy. It's a little piece of cake, except that access to the 1 screwdrivers is a little bit difficult to get here. So there is a small piece. As I look down in here, immediately apparent there is no power takeoff, but I can see something in there. I'm going to try and get a look at it because it looks like it's floating, and I might be able to grab that and pull it forward. So I'm hoping that is the power sourced up to the front of the machine, because otherwise it's going to be a challenge to bring it from the back and fish it all the way through the front. And in fact, enough of a challenge that I think I would actually pay a mechanic to do that. But I'm going to see if I can't grab that piece in there. It's a little dark and a little cramped. Of course, it's a motorcycle. And see if I can't grab that. So we'll not do that and bore you on camera. We'll do that off camera. Come back to you in a minute. Okay, fans everywhere. Good news, I found it. It is there. I'm not sure how well this is going to show up. It was pushed back down in there at the factory, probably just assembled that way, not thinking too much, but I had to use various little pliers to be able to grab the guy, plus my cell phone with the light on it. Ooh, let's just fool with the video a little bit. And I could just barely get a hold of it, and I finally got it to let loose. But it is indeed there. We have the, hope this comes out. Yeah, I think you could see that. We do have a USB connector supplied at and by the factory. It even says USB on it. I'm not sure if that'll show up, but it's even printed USB. And this is just like what came on the 17. You pull this apart and you do the connection with the Aprilia piece. So we have a power takeoff. We found it. So that is really cool. I'm very excited about that. That was a nice thing for going on rides, because now I'll be able to hook up that USB port. So be back to you with a recap of all this fooling around in just a moment. But good news. So another little discovery I've made here while pulling the, about ready to put the panel back on there, is that there are actually 3 different sizes of self-tapping screws that are used. Not too sure how well this is going to show up, and I'm not too sure actually that I remember exactly where they go. I'm normally good about that, but it must have been Friday at the factory is all I can say. I don't know why there would be 3 sizes. So I'm going to try and restore these into reverse order the way they came out. But oddities and curiosities of a 2021 Aprilia Tuono. So I've left the covering piece off of the fascia here for a moment. Here it is. Thank you, Piaggio. Congratulations. I think that's pretty nice that we do have the power, the USB power takeoff there. I've left it off for the moment, and I've left the connector hanging out. Don't worry, I'm not going to ride with it that way. I can literally push it back in there, but I'm hoping that I'll just push it back in there, and then that way when I do order the piece, and I do intend to order it, I'll just be able to reach in and not go through the gyrations of having to take that left-hand fascia off in the future. So bear with me a moment, and we're going to do a bit of a recap here. So tell me, Mr. Cooper, just what did you learn from all that? Quite a few valuable lessons, actually. We found that we do indeed have a lithium battery as supplied standard. Good news, very good news. We found what I think is the PMP connector. I'm going to have to go back and look at that old vlog and see if that is indeed the same thing that was there before. And it doesn't look as if we have to take off that side panel to get at it. And great news, we found that we do have a, as supplied from the factory, USB connector, so we can keep our smartphone charged as we go along. All good things. To the slightly critical and very critical side, I think that there should be a little bit more notice that there is a lithium battery on board this machine. With the connector here, I don't know if this is going to show up. Let's just see if I can't pan the camera down to show it to you. It is, there it is. It is a different configuration, and it does say Optimate on it than a standard lead acid battery power maintainer is. So I think it would be hard to make that mistake, but I've seen people try hard to make mistakes in the past. So I think they might have let that be known and perhaps been a little more prominent in their literature about that. And that's all totally a positive, good thing. Less positive good things, not crazy about the self-tapping screws on the front fascia plate there. I cannot now recall if the 2017 was constructed the same way. And I've got to say, a little bit disappointing to find that they used two different screws for the seat hold down, and I don't think it's not necessarily a big deal, but it's a little less than professional. So those are the criticisms, the valid criticisms to take away. So yeah, through it all, you sort of get the feeling that this is, and by the way, also on the good side is looking at how tucked away and nicely packaged the wiring appears to me. I think they've done a nice job of trying to keep things from being frayed and chafed over time. I think that's all positive as well. There does appear to be a couple of things that perhaps during getting the factory back up, they did have some challenging issues, or perhaps some people who hadn't been involved for a while. So three good things. Hey, we're batting 1,000. That'd get us into the Hall of Fame if we were professional baseball players, which I'm not, never could have been. I wouldn't have, didn't even approach that level of skill. But generally good news with the 2021 motorcycle, and I will let you know how we proceed as we look for those bits and bobs as they say over in the UK, bits and pieces as we say here in the USA, and particularly that PMP Piaggio multimedia platform and the USB charger connector, also by Piaggio. So that's it from the Man Cave. I hope you had a riveting, exciting time. I certainly did. Regret the chance that we didn't have to use power tools, but hey, we'll get our opportunity to do that in the future. We worked the heck out of a Phillips screwdriver and a 4mm Allen head set. So that's about as far as we got into the tool kingdom. Well, plus some tiny little pliers. Yeah, Thank you for that. Anyway, we will see you soon, and hopefully the next time we'll be out riding this thing. What is going on? Talk to you later.